it going? Did it just let me get?
Wait. Go ahead, Dave.
John Paul's, thank you.
What up, fellas? Morning.
Top of the morning to you.
What's the haps with the craps?
You know.
What's the day, man?
Sunday.
April 22nd. We had a fucked up video last week. Sorry about that. We had some chipmunk problems.
Oh, you're in the wrong month, too. It's May.
You're right.
All good. All good.
You want to introduce our new guest today?
Yeah, well, let's go through the normals. Our new viewers this week, dude. Fans. We got Butch Caves, Tammy Roa Baroni, Danny Pop and Drop Partita, Charles Keep It Rockin' Lane.
What's up, Bull?
Special shout out to Chuck Hutchins.
What's up, Chuck?
He's the best. He's the best.
And we got a self-made addict named Maylene from Seattle. Good job, Maylene.
A self-made what?
She says she's an addict, dude.
Fucking fellas podcast addict?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I'm down with
I don't know
that.
if it was a drug addict or a sex addict.
Dude, I'm
All
down
the
with whatever
above.
they want to do, man. So we do got a special guest. You can tell Jaybone's here.
Hey, everybody.
Grew up with me and Dave. This guy and his family took me in when I was a kid, and I lived with him for a few years. He's more like my brother than one of my friends, but been through the gamut of being best friends, and now brothers.
Oh, yeah. Known
For
each
life.
other since birth. I got
Yeah.
known Dave since 5. So we
Little,
went
yeah.
first soccer.
I mean, we used to
team
go camping when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Greatest place on earth, Lake
That
Alpine.
old Lake Alpine.
When you're kids, that was awesome.
Oh, dude, I had some great memories from those summers. Can't win my girlfriend's at that spot.
That's right.
Heather
Yeah.
Q.
I always wondered what happened to her.
No, you don't.
I know she married
Yeah.
Roach, and then I didn't know after that, dude.
Yeah. It was a trip.
She's I don't know, different cat, but she was really cute back in the day.
She was definitely different.
Always smell like exclamation.
What's exclamation?
That perfume.
Oh, okay.
You remember that perfume?
Ah,
One little bottle with the exclamation point on it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
They have it at the flea market?
No, dude, that was high tech shit. You couldn't get it at Target till like 3 years ago.
Nice.
Just came down.
So we're gonna brought Jay in for a reason. We're gonna blast on drugs today. I'm gonna do some.
Hey, man, that's not what you said you brought me in for.
He said sabotage TV.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
He said, Jason, we got somebody special coming in right now.
we got a drug addict today.
Here, a girlfriend from your past. Lie to you, tell you we're coming on for some other reason.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate that's fine.
We have we want to introduce you to your 22-year-old son. He's coming out.
Here's the guy who used to bully you.
Oh, man.
No, drugs is one of our topics, but Jay's a master at other dimensions and spirits, and we'll let Jay have the mic and just explain to people who you are. Those that don't know Jay, who you are and what you're about, man.
They brought me on the show today because I've always had this ability to kind of go in between the spirit world and the real world, and had contacts with ghosts, and we're going to go into some of those stories a little bit later. But like Kev said, I'm G-Town down. I grew up here, don't live here anymore.
Icon?
But, yeah, I don't know about all that. I was in my own right at one time or another, But
Jay's an icon.
yeah, no. But I always loved the city. One great thing about Galt is this type of deal where, friends are closer than friends, your family more or less. I don't think it happens as much in big cities. My daughter, we live in Elk Grove, and it's just not the same. And I don't know if it's maybe a time thing, but I really think this city's special for that. It kind of brought people together closer as we knew each other's families. We stayed at each other's house for weeks at a time.
We caught each other jacking off.
Yeah, things happen. We're all very open with each other. So.
Yeah, nobody cares.
All right, but so yeah, no, I mean, I love the show. It's an honor to get to come on. You know, I'm probably not going to be as smooth as these two cats are, but you know, I like to get my input.
Jay, you're good to go, man. You're
good to go.
All right, sweet. Well,
you got that DJ voice right off the bat.
Yeah. DJ voice.
Yeah, I was like, is that Wolfman Jack? Where'd you go? Remember Wolfman, dude?
Yeah, I remember Wolfman Jack.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that makes me think of, here's a little story I got to tell.
About three
bad brothers you know so well. Started way back
in history.
That Mike D and me.
Had a little horsey named Paul Revere.
Me and my horsey and a quart of beer.
Right across the land.
I kick it up, saying.
There posses on my tail.
Cause I'm in demand. Pause.
I don't know, man. That sounded a little bit like who's it? The brothers who used to have the yo-yo and shit.
Smothers Brothers.
Yeah. Smothers Brothers.
Yeah.
That didn't sound like rap artists. That sounded like Smothers Brothers shit.
corny shit.
It was a little too premeditated. That shit needs to fucking come off, like, you know, naturally.
Like a yo-yo?
Yeah.
Like a yo-yo. Rock the cradle.
Rock the cradle.
Dude, you used to have it, tricks. You know you did, Jay.
Oh yeah, I got second place at the middle school yo-yo contest.
Really?
Yeah. Casey, I think, freaking beat me out. We went right down to it, but I tripped up on the rock the cradle and kind of lost my way. So, you know.
Walking the dog.
Walking the dog.
Hell yeah.
So we rock my shades today in honor of Ray Charles.
Ray Charles, that was random.
Yeah. So good. All right, man. So what's up? We're gonna start out with the dope story or what, Weller?
Oh yeah, we can start it out. But I want you to tell the story, your acid trip story.
I will tell it, man. Just get me warmed up. Chub me up, dude. Get it chubbed up.
Yeah, that was another thing about this town. I think drugs were pretty prevalent when we were growing up. You could pretty much get anything and everything you wanted at any time, which is crazy. You know, such a small spot.
It is small town Americana. Galt is great American little town. But you can get acid, shrooms, weed, cocaine, crank. They don't do crank anymore. It's like meth or ice now. Yeah.
What's the difference between meth and crank?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Okay.
I say meth will keep you up like 2 to 3 days.
Okay,
here goes the scientist.
I heard this.
Phrase logic about to enter the room.
I heard this, okay, from a friend. Actually, I've done all those drugs, but crank is like a biker dope recipe that you can make in your fucking bathtub, right?
Okay.
You don't need any fucking scientific shit, but I'm sure you've seen Breaking Bad.
Right.
There's a different process and chemicals to meth, but they both have the same fucking outcome. You get addicted to either one.
Right.
You stay up all night, chew on your own teeth.
Pick at your face.
Pick your face.
Draw pictures.
Take a TV apart and put it back together wrong.
Yeah. It was working fine before you fucked with it.
Start 8 projects and finish none of them.
You fix the TV and all you got's odd channels.
River Yell.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the difference, man. But I used to like doing the crank back in the day, dude, because it was like you had like a 1-day come down or something, and then when they switched it up to the meth, I mean, that shit fucks you up for a couple days, dude, and your mind too. It's a different mind fuck than the old school crank was.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've had a lot of family members get taken down by that.
Fuck, man.
I tell you, that's the devil. I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, it is the devil.
That's without a doubt.
Definitely not a recreational drug, dude.
Nah, I mean, whereas like coke, you do it 2 hours later, you're having a burger and falling asleep. You know, not that it's any better. You know, still a bad drug, but it's just a different effect. The next 3 days, you're not all spun out, and you know you can sleep, that type of stuff. So sleep deprivation is no joke.
And I think you get more shadier on that shit than any other drug, dude.
Oh, without a doubt, paranoid. I mean, it causes paranoia. I mean, it absolutely does. I mean.
And theft and shit like that, man.
I've known people or a person who used to actually think that the dope, when you did it, showed up like on a police screen somewhere, like it made you glow on some screen, and they knew that you were doing it and driving around. They could tell. They just had this like tracer dope,
like a shot spotter in the sky.
Yeah, I knew a guy used to think like that sometimes.
I always tell my kids when we see, we got a few icons around golf. The guy that rides around with his New York Jets jersey.
Mm-mm.
He wears a New York Jets jersey every day. It's an old school one. He was a white receiver.
Altune?
No, white dude. It was a white dude, but number 80.
I don't
For some reason, I want to say McConkey, but I think he was on the Giants.
Yeah.
But this cat rides around, and he's like 50 years old on a bicycle. And I always tell my kids, you do not want to be 50 years old riding a bike.
Charlie Tejada.
Yeah, something's going...
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, because you have to. You want to be riding a bike at 50 years old. You want to be able to ride a bike.
Yeah, but not your personal means of transportation, dude. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. Well, I don't know. Nowadays, that's a lot of people are, especially in the Bay Area, they're using bikes to get around.
Dude, I'm not talking libtards. I'm talking about fucking meth heads.
I think you'd be more concerned he's wearing the same shirt every day. That's something you probably wouldn't.
Well, unless you washed it every day, you know what I mean? Maybe.
Yeah, no. I mean, I only wear like 2 or 3 shirts that I cycle through every day for work or every week for work. So, yeah, no, I guess so.
But you drive a fucking Cadillac. You're not driving a Schwinn, dude.
Yeah, true. True that.
So, are you going to bust a nut on the drug stories first? Or?
The only thing I've ever done is I smoked weed. I've tried it maybe a couple times, 2 or 3 times in my life.
You inhaled it?
Fuck. And I get paranoid. I always get paranoid when I can't be around a lot of people. So, fucking one day, me and a friend of mine, Gordo, we were fucking...
What's up, Gordy?
we got fucking... Yeah, we got too high. So we go into Denny's, we're going to get something to eat, man. We're going to grub. So I'm trying to fucking be like a fly on the wall. I'm like fly on the wall. I'm fucking scooting against the wall, trying to stay fucking like camouflage into the wall. And I sit down calmly, and it feels like I'm sitting on a book, but I'm quiet. Light as a feather. And then my buddy starts laughing at me, and I turn around, and I'm sitting on an old lady's lap it's in a walker. And she looks at me like I was on drugs, and I was. And I said, I'm sorry. And I stood up there, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So I just stood there like a statue in my head. Nobody could see me. But everybody's laughing at me, but nobody can see me. I was like invisible. I don't know. You have little fucking experiences like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude, everybody has them.
Part of growing up, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna bust out the story about my sister is a year younger than us, but we never really partied and shit.
Same age as me.
Yeah, she used to fucking, once she got hooked up with Breath, they were in the bedroom or at the house. Jody fucking forever. I never really kicked it with her, but they broke up and shit. So there's this party up in Roseville, and she said, let's take my car. We're going to fucking go to this party. I'm like, yada, yada, that's all cool. We had it planned out where we're staying. We're not going to come back for the night, and that kind of shit, right? So we take up to Roseville, kicking at this party. Dude breaks out a fucking sheet of acid. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to drop acid. So I go get my sister. I tell her, hey, I'm dropping acid. Don't do it. Drink or whatever. Don't do acid. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So,
you're the responsible person.
You're the babysitter.
Yes. Because, mom and dad would be pissed off at me if I brought it would be on me. So about 10-15 minutes later, acid takes like, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes to kick in or whatever. So right. I'm fucking kicking it, dancing, doing shit. And then she comes up to me and she puts her tongue out. She's got a fucking hit on her tongue. I look at her. I would want to punch her in her face. I was like, do not swallow that. I tried to tell you, don't fuck around. She's never done it before, right? So she swallowed it. Me and her end up going at it. I grab her by her fucking hair and pulling around the party. People want to fight me and stuff. And I'm like, no, we have to get home.
I mean, you're the responsible person. That's scary.
In my mind, right. I'm mad and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, I only took that acid like maybe 5 minutes ago. So I got like half an hour or so for it kicked in. But it already been like 30 minutes. So we're fucking driving from Louisville. We get off the split. We're coming down 99. And right about 12th Avenue, I just remember this fucking gigantic rooster tail of fucking sparks. And I'm like, oh shit, the acid kicked in, right?
You got a flame chasing you.
Yeah, like, and when you're on acid, you see shit like that. So I was like, okay, I'm just tripping, So, fucking driving home, get home. We have a dirt driveway, rolling down the driveway. I get in, get out. I look at one of the wheels on the car, and it's all fucking red and glowing. And I'm like, okay, again, I'm just tripping. So I didn't think nothing. I'm tripping. Missy gets out. She goes to her room. This and that. I sit down. I watch a TV show. It was a Terminator 2. Mom and Dad are watching on a video cassette. And you know, the dude's arm like morphs and you know, he's liquid and shit. So I'm laughing. And my dad's like, what the fuck are you laughing at? This isn't a funny show. And I'm like, Dad, I dropped acid tonight. You know, it's pretty funny to me. And he's like, if you dropped acid, you would be dead. He's like, and he smells on me. I'm not drinking. He can't smell me or nothing, but I continue to laugh. And then my mom gets pissed off.
You'd be dead.
Yeah.
You liar.
Yeah. I try to tell him the truth. So my mom says, like, Kevin, you need to go to your room, or, you know. I'm like, all right, because they were trying to watch a movie. So I wake up in the morning. My sister's knocking on the door, and she's like, I need to borrow your car. And I'm like, what the fuck? She never drives my car. What do you need to borrow my car for? She's all, my car only has 3 tires. And I said, shut up.
So it wasn't a flame chasing you, it was a bald tire sparking all the way from Roseville to Galt.
Let me get the picture right, dude. I go out to look at this car. There is no tire, no rubber at all. It is all metal, dude. And so I'm like, okay, you can use my car. I tried to explain to my dad, and I told him, I was tripping on acid and shit, but he didn't believe me, dude.
Yeah, well, you're laughing so much. That's one thing about acid and mushrooms. You could start laughing, and it's almost painful because you just can't stop. You start going, and if you're with somebody and you're feeding off each other, I mean, I've been where it's like
just
hurts, where you don't want to laugh, but you can't stop. It just hurts, man.
You remember many times at the breakfast table we're sitting there and fucking just looking at each other and laughing and shit.
Well, shoot, whenever
we get mad, fucking.
When Mom and Dad got custody, we were in the freaking courthouse and we couldn't stop laughing. The judge getting all pissed off, and everybody's looking back at us, but we couldn't. Yeah, man.
Just kids, dude.
Yeah, get those laugh attacks going.
When you get high, you get those laugh attacks too. It's crazy. I remember one time me and me and Gordo.
There you go. And then you say who it is too.
A friend of mine.
This guy.
So we got high and we're sitting there and like by ourselves out in the back, and then I start coughing. Seriously, I throw up, and I throw up a fucking sandwich I ate, and he's like just sitting there. He's like, "What was that, bologna?"
Oh man, well I remember freaking being over at your apartment, and you used to do those crank calls where you do like jerky boy style. You called a dentist office. That was the funniest shit. I was cramping, I was crying, I was on the ground like spitting up on myself. You couldn't stop laughing. That was funny shit.
Dude, magic, dude.
Magic.
Yeah, no, but I think everybody should have to do acid once. It just shows the capabilities our mind have, and we just don't tap into any part of our mind whatsoever. Oh yeah, I mean you need a day after a trip to get back into reality because it just stretches your brain so far.
You should do it in the daytime too.
Yeah, well, day and night I don't think matter. I think the important part is you're with somebody you're comfortable with in a comfortable place.
Somebody able to protect you if you get stupid.
That type of stuff. I don't know. A lot of people like going in the woods, camping trips and doing that. I don't know that I'd want to be out in nature where I'm hearing sounds and shit like that. And
fucking Yetis and fucking Bigfoot and shit out there, dude.
Snipes fucking rolling around there.
We got some red licorice, snipe hunting.
In your underwear? You gotta be in your underwear because you can smell clothes.
Right, yeah. Oh, shit, man. Good old snipes, man.
Because I remember I had a bad trip with Double H and Spacey, dude. We were dropping on Halloween. Went to a party in Lodi on Halloween and shit, and me and Double H got separated from Spacey, and you know Lodi, it's like a completely different town than Galt was, and bigger and stuff. So we ended up fucking tripping so hard we left, and I'm looking around and I'm like, hey, where's Space at? He's all, fuck, we left him at the party. We go back to the party. Can't find him, dude. Can't look in all the rooms, mom and dad's room, the bedrooms, all that shit. Can't find this guy. And then we look I seen underneath the curtain there was a pair of Converse. He's behind the curtain right there, just fucking tripping out. And dude, it was scary. It was nighttime, and then you got all these little kids, Power Rangers, Mutant Ninja Turtles, fucking little Yodas and shit walking around. And, you know, when people got masks on, that shit is fucking scary.
Oh, yeah.
When you're tripping balls, dude. So get him back in the car, and he fucking fetal positioned all the way home. Got home. You remember I had that room outside of the house.
Yeah.
That, you know, the Pleasure Dome.
Yeah.
He's Pleasure Dome for like 2 days, dude. Just fucking fetal position. I mean, the acid gets you bad sometimes, dude.
Yeah, no, I've never had a really bad trip, but I've seen people have them, and it's scary to watch. But
you get to that dimension or that other thing where everything is like rubber and digitalized and granny and shit.
yeah, again, though, I think it's really important, like you say, it's what situation you're in. Because Halloween, I don't know that I'd want to be tripping on.
I
Halloween.
would not do drugs on Halloween. Like that. I'll just tell you right now.
Good advice from the phrase.
I'm a professional partier, retired.
Yeah, freaking. One time me and Spence and a few other guys, we got some liquid from Galt, headed to the Dead Show. This was when Jerry was still alive, so it was way back in the day. And by the time we got there, we were all tripping pretty good. And we were pulling in the shoreline. Well, Cybel's freaking driving. He rear ends some guy.
Don't worry about give straight names.
No, I don't. No, but we know a lot of Cybels. I don't know which one I'm talking about. Freaking
Heather.
Yeah, exactly. Bingo. So freaking, he rear ends some guy, and we're like, oh no, dude, we can't. And the guy's like, pull over. We need to exchange information. We're like, nah, bro, fucking gun it. So we gunned it, jammed in, fucking got into the show. Well, if you ever been to Dead Shows, it's pretty trippy. And Shoreline's trippy anyway because there's so many different parking lots. So we parked way out. We're walking in, and we're just going there to hang out at Shakedown, basically. And Spence jumps off the side of this, like, grass hill and starts doing flips down this thing. And Spence is super athletic.
Yeah.
But his arms and legs and shit flew off his body. I mean, completely off his body. And as soon as he hit the ground, everything came back too. And this chick runs up to him and she's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And her man runs up and is like, "Leave him alone, honey. Just leave him alone." but you know, the trippy thing that night, we all kind of separated and just went and did our own thing, and then would just randomly meet up. It was just
without cell phones or anything.
None of that shit. Just would randomly end up in the same spot together again, dude. It was shit like that, weird stuff like that happens, man.
I love it, dude. We've hit it in old episodes, dude. When we grew up without cell phones or pagers or any of that shit, and the way we used to know what shit was going on, everybody would either skateboard or their bike around,
right?
And you'd see all the bikes on one lawn,
and
you'd be like, "Oh, this is where the shit's going down."
There you go.
You know, that's how we used to get around and do our shit, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. Crescent Drive days were sweet, man.
Dude, you remember that chick from Woodbridge? I don't think I ever met her, but she used to call the house all the time. Got fucking in trouble because we only had a house phone, remember?
Right.
Her name was Monica or something like that from Woodbridge.
How did you get...
She used to call us, and I think Anthony O'Grodnick gave her.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Kid? Oh man, stalker before.
Oh,
stalker,
she was
dude.
trippy. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we used to have to share phone time, or you'd only be on the phone for an hour, or this and that. Remember how we do that shit?
Oh yeah. You had the freaking DJ from K-Win. I think she had a crush on you for a while because we'd call every single night to do dedication songs and shit. Ask for Ready for the World.
Yeah.
Let me love you down.
Yeah. I can't sing. I know I'm going on that.
Yeah.
No, that, speaking of the dimensions and stuff, man, that's a good.
Yeah, and Crescent Drive. Yeah, not. Yeah, that street was a fun street to grow up on. And we were talking earlier. I hated the house because the house was haunted. There was a ghost in the house.
No doubt.
And yeah, without a doubt. I mean, when I was a kid.
Well, was it haunted?
It could have been. I wasn't sure. I was scared of it.
Yeah.
I never had an experience other than you guys trying to scare me. But other than I'd never had an experience there like that.
And they were hit and miss, and a lot of it was nighttime stuff. When I was real little, because I didn't sleep. The back room was the haunted room. It was the way the house was configured. My parents' room was in the front. It was like a bathroom, then my room, and then this big back room. And at night, I'd hear walking in there, closets opening and closing, windows opening and closing.
Wooden floors.
Yeah, and it was wooden floors. So, I mean, it was really loud. So I'd always run into my parents' room and be like, somebody's breaking into the house. I always thought somebody was breaking into the house. Well, they'd get fed up with it. So a lot of times I just sleep on their floor or sleep in the bathroom because I was so freaked out from it. And I never really knew it was a ghost until I got older and started to understand that stuff. But I'd always had experiences. The whole sleep paralysis type thing where they talk about like kind of in between dream and being awake and just feeling like you can't move but you're seeing everything around you. I had that happen all the time as a child. I would literally feel myself leave my body and could see myself quite often. Out of body experiences. I would, a constant.
Where you can't breathe. You have that where you can't breathe.
No, breathing that you can breathe. You just can't move.
I've had it where I couldn't breathe.
You can't scream. You can't yell. But you're awake. You see your room. You see everything going on around you. But and that happened to me quite a bit. And the ghost part was kind of hit and miss. Obviously it went on a lot at night, but it got more intense when Kevin moved in. And I think
Aunt Cindy, remember Aunt Cindy?
Yeah, I think she had like a receptor. Yeah, Aunt Cindy stayed there for a while, and when she'd come over, things would happen, and a lot of times it would be closet doors. You'd hear one it open slowly and then slam, and it was like what? And initially you always think, well, shit, somebody's in the house,
Or
somebody broke in the house,
yeah,
but it wasn't, and it happened so often that you knew something was going on. And when you first moved in, well, Donnie lived back then. When you guys lived with us with Chad,
yeah.
He was staying back there for a while, but you stayed in with me.
Yeah.
And then eventually you wanted your own space, so you took the dive and went back there.
Yeah, I took the ghost room.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when all kinds of shit started happening. Because, Fraser would put furniture in one spot, the next morning everything would be moved to the other side of the room. And it got intense for a while. One time we were sitting out watching Inspector Gadget out in the front room. My parents were both gone. And we hear walking in the hallway, and then we hear the door slams, freaking TV goes all freaking crazy, lights went out, went back on, went out. Fuck it, we were out of that house in like 2 seconds flat. And then after that, we didn't even want to stay.
We fucking stayed outside until an adult came home.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is about adults, but whenever you got adults around, then you feel safe at least,
Right.
But I never felt scared. I felt scared, but I didn't feel fearful like I was going to get hurt.
Right.
I didn't feel that way about it.
No, and my Aunt Mel actually said she saw it once. It was a female. But I never did see anything there. That was prior to me actually getting visual type stuff where I'd actually see things. I never really saw. I just could feel it. And I've always had that kind of ability, and people who do have that in touch with the spirit world thing, you get a feeling. You sense it. When you walk in a room, you can feel it. Quite often, my eyes will start to water.
When's the last time you got a feeling like that?
Oh, God. This week, my wife's grandmother passed away a couple weeks ago. Rest in peace, Kitty. And her husband is a guardian angel to my wife. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot going on this week emotionally and stuff. And when she had came back from meeting to kind of get pictures together and going through all the old pictures and stuff, I could feel him with her. And we were sitting out in our garage, and it was like my eyes started welling up, and I was like telling her, he's with you right now. It's strong. Mm. And so it comes and goes. I haven't really had a lot of the experiences because quite often it would get like a hindrance, because once you open a portal to the spirit world, you're letting anything in. So whether it's a relative that's trying to contact me, or somebody else's relative, that type of thing, or I'm walking into a place that's haunted and whatever's there is trying to make contact with me.
It's like it knows you can see them or hear them.
Well, it's once you acknowledge it, because that subconscious, they know. It's one of those deals where and then once that portal's open, anything can come through, and that's when it gets
good or evil.
Yeah, good or evil, and evil ones are bad. It's dealing with that stuff is crazy, but just kind of give a couple stories of things that happen with me, and making contact with spirits and or having things that were kind of unexplainable go on. one time, myself and Gordy, somebody already sold him out. We were real close right at the end of high school, out of high school. And we did a lot of stuff together, and good and bad. And, at that time, we were kind of skating the bad rather than good line. Mm-hmm. And, I crashed at his house quite often because Chev didn't care when we came home. The door was always open, was always unlocked. Emmanuel was usually out later than us, so... we
dancing on the bar with cleats.
The papas. And so one night, and we really weren't doing anything that we used to do back in those days. That night in particular, we had went out, couldn't find chicks, which is what we're usually trying to do. Came back, and we crashed in his living room. So I'm on one couch, Manuel's on the other couch, or Gordo. Sorry, I did it too.
See how hard it is?
Sorry,
That means you feel comfortable.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, Gordo.
Yeah, sorry about that, Gordo. Anyway, so...
AKA Manuel.
Whatever you want to call him. Yeah. Anyway, so freaking... we're sleeping in there. Well, I wake up, and I think I felt like I had to go to the bathroom or something. Well, I tried to set up, and something pushed me back into the couch. I mean, physically pushed me back into the couch. It was different than the whole sleep paralysis thing to where you wake up and you just can't move. This was like I went to move and I was thrown back into the couch. I managed to fight myself up, and I was like trying to scream, and it was like smothering me. It felt like I was being smothered. The thing, whatever it was, threw me up against the wall in the back corner of the living room. At this time, with the thud of me going into the wall, Manuel wakes up, or Gordo wakes up.
You want to just say his last name?
Anyway, he wakes up.
Social security number?
he tries to get up. He looks at me like, what the hell's wrong with this dude? So he goes to set up, and he gets thrown back into the couch. Right at that time, I look across the floor, and there were snakes on the floor coming at me. And I had never had a visual thing like that occur. Well, at that point, we're both trying to yell. Well, his little brother, who's since actually passed in that house, he comes around the corner, and everything stops. And the weirdest part about this whole thing is his mom ran out, everybody ran out, Beto ran out, everybody ran out. And they were like, oh, don't worry about it, it's fine. Both of us felt this like surreal calm afterwards. Like to the point where we should have been tripped out and like stayed up the rest of the night flipping out talking about it. Yeah. I think we maybe set up for another 10 minutes and both of us just went right back to sleep. And that was the kind of the weird part to me, because the next morning I'm like, dude, that happened last night, right? He's like, yeah, and that was crazy. And I'm like, what? Did you feel that calmness after? And like you just needed to go sleep then? Like everything was okay? Dude, that was a trippy experience. I had
kind of violent experience.
Yeah, that one was not a good presence. Whatever that spirit was definitely not good. And since then, I've had more and more. Well, I had a lot of tragedy in a short amount of time. My cousin, who's like an Uncle Mont, he passed, and then my Aunt Cindy had passed. My Aunt Mindy and my cousin Jenny both killed themselves in a short amount of time. My cousin Justin at 18 died in a car accident tragically, and like all this happened like in a few years span. And during that time, it was like constant. At night I would have visits. There were times where good and bad. I mean, there were times where I'd fly out of bed swinging, thinking there was like a burglar in my room, and it was like an apparition. And I had even one time was chased out of my house in the middle of the night by one. I literally hauled ass out of my house. My wife followed me, ran behind me, hey, and I like snapped to, and it was gone. And during that time was real tough. I mean, it was so tough to the point where I called. There was this guy I heard on the radio named Gary Spivey. So I called, and he's like a medium supposedly. So I called, and like his secretary or whatever answers the phone. I was like, listen, I've got this ability, evidently, that I need to know how to turn off. And she's like, oh, you're gifted. That's so awesome. That's so cool. I'm like, yeah, nah, it's really not that cool. And it isn't, to be honest with you. Fortunately, I'm hoping this whole conversation doesn't open portals, because I haven't had really to deal with it as much, but I haven't had a lot of tragedy around as well. Like I said, recently with Jody's grandma passing away, I'd felt a little more, especially from her grandpa, and she was obviously skeptical of the whole thing, which she should have been.
Yeah.
Good
lady, man.
Yeah, and one of the more intense experiences that I had was with her. Actually, I'd felt a presence, and I told her somebody needed to talk to her. I grabbed her hand, held on to it, and honestly, I basically blacked out after that. I don't remember saying to her what I said to her. She kind of had to tell me afterwards. I mentioned something about a belt buckle, and something with that and it causing problems, and then I had said something about Kitty's really mad at me and some other things. I had no idea who it was or anything else, but these were all things about her grandfather, who actually had passed when her mom was 7, so she never even met him. Her mom didn't even really know him well, but he still is one of her guardian angels, and since then I kind of get his presence every once in a while. And we'll have times where, especially if she's around horses, where you really feel it, because he was big into horses, that type of stuff. And she ended up calling her mom, because we still didn't know what this whole buckle thing was, and there was a whole big story behind it, evidently, and her mom breaks into tears. And honestly, I don't even really remember saying anything.
It's confirmation, though, man.
Yeah, it was quite an experience, and since then for my dad, I've tried channeled my grandmother before and that type of stuff. And there's not a lot said; it's more of a feeling.
Yeah.
I can make you just by grabbing your hand or touching you. I can. And my dad says, "Give you my spirit," kind of pass it through. So
let me ask you this, man. You say people, and when they pass on, they have guardian angels, or they have people that are watching them and stuff. So. You think we got people that are watching us all the time, like when we're fucking jacking?
That's something that honestly just runs through my mind quite often, especially back when everything's were intense. But hey, we all beat off. So what's the big deal?
I don't do that. I don't jack off. I'm always my mom passed away years ago, and I'm always afraid she's watching me, so I don't do that.
You just wash really hard in the shower, really, really well.
I go in the corner and I do different things.
My favorite is when everyone's gone, dude, and I can break my little dirty tablet that's got all my dirty shit on it, because it can get viruses or whatever. I don't care. You turn the video, you turn the sound up loud.
Paint us a picture, Phrase. Paint us a picture.
So I take my shirt off.
Put on some soft music.
Even then, when you're by yourself, the dogs are looking at you, and a lot of times I'll get out of the room. Come on, get out of here. I don't want the dogs looking at me either, but... Yeah. You're fucking sitting there, get ready to do fucking magic time, and it still feels like somebody's watching you, man.
Oh yeah, no, when we were young, when we'd watch porn together, it was always so weird, because it's like, here you are watching porn with a bunch of dudes, and all you want to do is beat off, and it's like, fuck, I can't just pull my dick out and start beating off right
No,
here.
you go in your room and go underneath the blanket in the middle of the day about 2 o'clock.
I was trying to be discreet.
Hey, you remember though, we used to take the videotape out, and on the VCR it had a counter like 791.
Oh yeah, no, we were super paranoid about that.
So we would watch the porn, and then we'd rewind it back to 791, because we were like, oh, that's where they left off in this part of the movie.
And they're gonna know.
And we had to put them right back exactly the same way in the little cabinet. God, man, when we found that, we were so goddamn happy, dude. That was like the greatest day ever. Anytime my freaking parents left, all right, you watch out the front. You go and grab the phone. Rewind it right back to where it was.
Stand right there by the window.
Stand right there. Yeah. Oh shit, man.
Oh, you know what this and this is so random, but this just, I don't know why this fucking it was just picturing me standing by the window. Remember you standing by the window when I lived out in Waldo, and my dad ran over all those...
Oh, God, that fucked me up, dude.
He ran over all the baby cats.
Yeah, we ran out there, and the cat was just, like, twitching and shit. It was, like, the first time I ever saw something die.
So me and my brother were looking out the window crying, and you went out there, and I think didn't you bury him and put a cross or something?
Yeah, I went out and buried the freaking cat. That fucked me up that day. I remember going, and he said it was raining. It was all gloomy.
I think all the baby cats were on the tire or something.
Right, it was around. Yeah, he was heading off.
Smashed.
Mm-hmm. And he, like I said, I ran out there, and the fucker was twitching. And I just watched him take his last breath. You guys just stayed in. I buried him. Said a little prayer for him.
Put a couple crosses up.
Yeah. Said a little prayer for the guy.
That's good shit, dude. You know what flashes me back is I remember when you guys were in the New York City breakdance crew together, dude. With Jeff Keller.
It was a Jam On It crew.
Yeah, it was
We were the Jam On It crew. We really did. Superman looked up at me. He said, "You rock so naturally."
We put on a whole show for a bunch of grown-ups. How fucking retarded did we look, huh?
Oh man,
dude, that was the shit though. Didn't you win the golf festival back in '80?
The golf festival, dude. I was top dog in the backyard of Jason Harrison's house.
He was a crab crawling machine, man. He freaking was something else. That's probably the maddest my mom ever got at me. She videoed that. And I was embarrassed by it because my pop locking skills wasn't as fine tuned as they are now, and so I ended up I recorded like video vibration rap week over it.
Gosh, you imagine we had that today?
I know,
so
and
awesome.
And she cried. I mean, she was like wouldn't talk to me for like months after that, and then go fast forward. My wife freaking does the same thing to me. She records over my when I played in the Optimus game. And it's got all kinds of me when I was dunking in warm-ups and shit. And she recorded like one of her classes over it. I was so pissed.
Was it Golden Girls or something?
It was not like calculus class.
You still got some of those old videos. I remember we watched it.
Well, my mom, yeah, she has when we did Parents Don't Understand in Santa Cruz at the Boardwalk.
Shit.
That was the shit, dude. That was pretty cool, dude. Remember when you freaking thought your arms were too hairy and you tried shaving your arms and it was just pure blood?
Yeah, blood all over the fucking
How old are you?
Probably 13.
We were still at Crescent Drive, so he had only been probably 12 or 13. He went in and got my mom's freaking razor, started shaving his arms, comes out and is like screaming, freaking arm. But he was afraid he was going to get in trouble for using the razor. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, the other day I just yelled at my son. He came in to go eat dinner and he had fucking half of his eyebrow on. I said, "What the fuck happened to your eyebrow?" He goes, "I shaved it off. I cut it with scissors." I was like, "Why?" Because he goes, kids at school said my eyes were too bushy. I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, boy?"
Dude, teach him to use the comb, man.
You got
That's what
pretty
I put in my
eyebrows.
beard, dude. I started fucking around on one side to get it all like looking nice. And then I couldn't do it on the other
That's right.
side.
Fraser shaved his
I
beard.
know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looks good, though.
It'll grow back. No, my granddaughter, dude. So I FaceTime her like every night, talk to her and shit. She looks at me and she's like, "Papa, Papa." And then she wouldn't acknowledge me. She's like, "I don't know who the fuck that is." Because I was looking like ISIS before. Now she's like, "I don't know who the fuck that is."
Fucking terrorist.
I went over there yesterday to see because I think I'm gonna get her today for a couple hours and go to talk to her. She won't hug me or nothing, dude. She's like, "I don't know you."
God, that's too much.
But she always wore the Dodger hat, so she fucking seen the hat and she's like, "Oh,
there he is."
Yeah, I guess that's Papa."
Yeah. My daughter hates me without glasses on because she's never seen me without glasses.
Oh, it's like older people too when they take their teeth out.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, they look completely.
It is.
different
You
when
gotta
they
work.
do that
Yeah.
shit, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, we've hit just about everything except it looks like medical bar. You're gonna tell that story, dude.
Yeah. What medical bar?
No, he told it to what?
The medicinal bar.
Oh.
I don't know nothing about that.
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
What are you talking
talking about, dude? It's on the phone, dude.
All right. One time we took. I didn't. A friend of mine and his wife. They fucking get this medicinal bar, full medicinal bar. I don't know nothing about no medicinal fucking bar. So I guess you're supposed to eat just a square of the fucking medicinal bar, right?
Like
but it's chocolate.
It's a chocolate bar.
Yeah, it's good. So you want to eat a whole fucking chocolate bar. So I ate the whole fucking chocolate bar. So people were in my house. There was nobody in my house, but people were in my house. So I was sitting on the edge of the bed all night. Fucking somebody's in the house. Somebody's in the house. And I'm thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? And
Paranoid.
Yeah. My wife said, what are you going to do? I'm going to lock the door so they can't get me. I'm not worried about the kids. I'm worried about me.
Dude, you can trip hard. Honestly, I've been more scared. Well, I've heard that you can get. It's scarier if you eat too much edibles than even freaking eating a lot of mushrooms or acid.
That was the only time I ever did. It was fucked up. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I couldn't walk. Right. So I had a military crawl to the bathroom. And I'm like, fuck, I got to get up on that toilet. And I was just thinking, how the fuck am I going to do it? I was looking for a water bottle, something to piss in. Like I was like, this never again, never fucking again.
I always think I'm not breathing. I was like, I keep forgetting to take a breath. I think I'm not breathing right now. And then you like get yourself like hyperventilated and all freaking paranoid.
That was the old Cheech and Chong one, remember?
Oh yeah.
I can't breathe, man.
No. I mean, I've even been honest with I told my daughter, I know you're going to experiment at some point. Things are going to stay away from the edibles. Just don't do it, because you don't know what's they've been put in that. I mean, it's one thing if you've got enough. I mean, you know, that type of stuff. Yeah, the potency or anything else, because yeah, it will trip you the fuck out. You ain't gonna OD, it'll go over it, but you don't feel it. Doesn't feel like it's ever gonna end sometimes.
You know, that's one of my favorite things about weed, though, is you get loaded. It's, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes you're loaded, and then you're back to normal. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Or like alcohol. If you drink alcohol, you're fucked up all night, and sometimes the next day, dude.
Yeah.
And that one's legal. And that one's legal everywhere. You can buy alcohol everywhere if you're an adult, dude. I don't understand that shit right there.
Well, you know, I've smoked with my pop since I was 15, and it was a weird deal because, you know, they were always real anti with me, you know, and never really let on that it was, you know, never really set me down and said, this drug's different from this drug, and this is good, this is bad, don't do this, don't do that. You know, my mom was a recovering alcoholic, so she went through rehab and all that type of stuff, and so everything, especially when I was younger, everything was just the same. You know, it's all bad, no matter what. And we were heading up to our cabin, me and Bull and my pops, and I'm telling my dad, I'm like, you know, I see what's wrong with meth, I see what's wrong with coke, with alcohol, with cigarettes. I said, but I don't understand the weed situation, because I smoke it, I'm happy, and I don't feel like fighting nobody. I don't feel like, you know, wrecking a car, doing anything crazy. The next morning,
tear up a bag of Doritos.
Yeah, you know, next morning I wake up, I feel great. You know, I don't get what's wrong with it. He goes, you know what, son? The only thing that's wrong with it, it's illegal, and if you get caught, you're going to jail. Now, if you don't tell your mom, I got a doobie in the back when we get to the cabin, we'll smoke it. So this whole thing, we stopped at this little Mexican restaurant outside of Wallace, like by San Andreas or whatever. And I tell Bull, I'm like, you think he's lying to us, dude? I don't know. I think we're getting set up right now. I'm thinking they're gonna have like, there's gonna be some intervention or some shit that goes down, right? Sure as shit. We get up to the cabin, he fires up freaking bomb ass skunk too, man. It was still some of the best we have ever smoked. And then the paranoia sets in, because it's like, am I being set up right now? But we're all set up. I mean, we were all lit like crazy, laughing and everything else. The next morning I wake up, same thing. It's like, I bet you my mom shows up. I bet you I'm going to get broke down. No, after that shit.
No, now she knows, though.
Well, yeah. And you know, but it really, him doing that kind of did make me look at the picture bigger and understand that there is difference. Because, you know, part of the problem is with drugs and the way weed was looked at and told that it was evil and everything else, you were getting it from a drug dealer usually. And so if you try that and you find out it's not really that bad, well, he's going to offer you the meth too, you know, and you're going to say the same thing. Well, shit, my parents, everybody's been telling me that it's all the same, so this might be cool too.
Yeah.
And it ain't all cool. That's for damn sure.
I always say,
but that's the same with alcohol, tobacco,
I know.
Fucking pharmaceutical drugs.
Pharmaceuticals are damn worse, man.
I think pills are the biggest thing going right now.
Killing your fucking liver and kidneys. And
and I mean the side effects alone.
Yeah,
you know,
insane.
I've been having some anxiety, and it was one of those deals where I just couldn't get it under control. So my wife's like, you got to do something. So I went in, they recommend me taking some meds. I just want some PRN, you know, something to take the edge off when it's overwhelming. Well, they wanted to put me on some shit that, you know, was day-to-day type stuff. I'm like, it was so bad, I was like, fuck it, I'll try it. I wish I would have read the side effects first, dude. Honestly, the side effects from that medication was worse than what I was dealing with. And I only took it 2 days, and I went through all the withdrawal symptoms that they say you go through.
Really?
I mean, I was having brain flashes where I'd like be trying to fall asleep, and I thought I was like having a mini seizure. Like my brain would just like flash a light, and then I'd come back through. It was like my brain would wipe out for a second and then come back. It's crazy insomnia.
And that's legal. They prescribe that.
They push it. I told the doctor when she called to check in, I'm like, I'm not taking this anymore. And honestly, I think you guys should have to try everything you prescribe. I think you should have to see how it affects you and then get yourself off of it. Because, I mean, if you're going to tell me to take it, why don't you try it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're just going off of whatever pharmacy or whatever big prescription companies giving you kickbacks. You know what I'm saying? They always want to push that shit. Opiates.
Paid, dude.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean,
I see it kind of like this. Like cigarettes, when you start smoking cigarettes or chewing, you get a buzz. You get lit up, especially when you're young.
More with chew. I don't know. Cigarettes never really gave me much.
I've never smoked cigarettes, so I've only chewed. I've smoked cigarettes. A lot of joints, but this was my point, though. So tobacco's one thing, and then weed's the next level to the tobacco. It's the same thing with beer. Beer's one thing, and then there's hard liquor. That's the next level to liquor.
What do you
right?
mean level?
You can't.
I don't say tobacco.
Yeah, you can't compare. Weed doesn't give you cancer. Weed kills cancer cells. I mean,
but I'm just talking about the buzz feeling. You know,
are you talking gateway drug type thing?
No,
Is that what
I'm
you're
just
saying?
comparing them because like
you're comparing the highs.
Because
But
tobacco.
I don't know. I never really smoked cigarettes.
Well, you
so I
can see
don't
weed's on the next level. I mean, weed's on a different level than tobacco.
Yeah.
Just like beer. Beer, you could drink a 6-pack of beer, but if you took 3 shots of hard liquor.
You're talking about the high, I guess.
Yeah, but I wouldn't compare a cigarette high and a
tobacco.
Here's another one:
evil.
mushrooms and acid.
Right? Yeah. No, you can definitely compare those two, and I would say, yeah, one's
That's what I'm saying. There's like a level to each
to
one.
those without a doubt,
Like,
and coke to meth.
Coke to meth, and then like a Norco or a Vicodin
To an Oxy.
To an Oxy, or there's another one. They gave me one that broke my arm, dude. It starts with a P.
Percocet.
That motherfucker.
Yeah, when I was on disability, they had me on Oxy, and I would take it because I had like a 3-hour class at Sac State, and it was tough for me to sit for long periods of time because my back was jacked up, and that shit was so trippy, man. It would wire me up, and I wouldn't shut up. I mean, I'd answer every question, but like the second and third day, I just turn into an asshole.
Really?
Because then it gets in like you think you have to have it, and it creates phantom pains. I mean, I would like think I was hurting, but it was like me craving the drug, I think, more than anything. And that's why I hate them. I will not take
I don't take no pills, nothing.
No.
I mean, every once in a while I take aspirin. So I did fucking fall off a roof one time, fucked up my back, and I still wouldn't take no pills. And then finally it was just fucking me up. I was driving. So I'm going to take a painkiller. And I had a full bottle, and I just never took any Vicodin.
Right.
So I take one. I'm driving down the road. This is the true story. And I start sweating. I'm sweating and sweating and sweating. And it's early in the morning. It's cold. I take off my shirt, my sweatshirt, my shirt. I'm driving with no shirt on.
Oh, shit.
And I'm fucking river yelling. Woo! Woo! Because I think I'm going to pass out. I'm getting dizzy. And after that experience, I was like, fuck it. I'm not taking no painkillers. I gave them away. No. I'm not doing that no more. I just, and I know there's a use for them. But for me, I can't take any fucking kind of...
I mean, ibuprofen, that type of stuff, I will.
I've had my doctor tell me this, too. If you're in pain or you have a pain, the pills act a certain way. But if you're not in pain and you're taking the pills for recreational use, they provide a different experience. Like,
yeah, well, he makes a good point. I never thought about that. Like, he was saying that you take a pill and then you start thinking about... You might have a pain somewhere else, or you feeling pain. That's what it probably does. I never thought about that.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, and then it gets you on. You got to take more because you have more pain, and you start noticing shit that like little shit that my fingernail hurt or something like that. Well, you don't take a painkiller for it, but maybe now it's kind of amplified, and now you're going to take another fucking painkiller.
I'll tell you this one now, and I've heard a few stories from friends, but the worst drug I take is Ambien, man. And
I've heard some crazy stories.
I'm going to tell you why, man, because it works perfect. If you take it, you lay down and you go to bed. It works perfect. You get 4 or 5 hours sleep. Like, it's awesome. But one night I come home from bowling. I walk my dogs every night, and at this time I only had Max. So me and Max go out on a walk, and I'm like, we're going to walk for like 20 minutes. I'll take this Ambien right now. I'll get home, crash, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I didn't take into effect I had been drinking at bowling. Took this pill, and something with the alcohol and the pill together, it's fucking something's going on. So I start walking. I'm over here, and I got the same path I walk, and I've been here, I don't know, 7 years, do the same fucking path. And about 15 minutes in, I start feeling fucked up, and fucking Max is talking to me. I'm talking to Max, and I'm like, dude, you need to take me home. And he's like,
your dog?
Yeah, my dog. And he's like, don't worry, bud, I got you. I know how to get home. We walk this thing all the time. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I stop and I take a piss, and then the next thing I know, I'm out. Fucking, I come through. This was about 11 o'clock at night. So I come through. There's fucking floodlights all over me. Max is sitting next to me, and the fucking, it's like a loudspeaker. Could you please get up off the ground? Hands in the air. And I'm like, oh shit. Where did you get that voice from, Max? You know, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm looking at my dog. It's the Galt cops, dude. I passed out on this lady's lawn over here. Probably like close to 2 miles away.
Oh my god.
I don't know how I got over there.
He was asleep.
Yeah, I was sleeping. So it's like
Just curled up.
Yeah, it's like 3 in the morning. So I had been gone like 3-4 hours, right? And my fucking dog, he's so good, man. He's just sitting there laying next to me, you know, fucking. I guess my dad wants to take a sleep, so we're sleeping, but get to talking to the cops, and like it's in Galt, so it's small town action. They don't want to fuck with my dog because he's a big ass 160-pound dog, you know.
Right.
And I said, hey, go get my mama. My mom lives right over here. You know, my wife Michelle. Go get her. And sure enough, the cop did. He came over, got her. She didn't want to answer the door at first because you know he's knocking. Galt PD, Galt PD. And Michelle's like, yeah, right. That's Kevin fucking around. And sure enough, it is. So she goes over there, calls Max. Max goes up, gets in the car. The fucking Galt PD give me the fucking slam down, all this and that.
Shit.
Yeah, I didn't know the lady who's over by the other middle school. Lake.
Did they give you drunk in public?
Nope.
No.
They ran my shit. The guy said, "Hey, I heard him talking PG&E truck. I had my limo at the time, and he had been here before, and he was a limo driver before he was a police officer.
So you have something in common.
Yeah, so he knew me, and then he's like,
That's
look,
limo
what
French.
happened? He's all, you don't seem like you're drunk or whatever. I said, look, man, here's what happened. I took some Ambien. Next thing I know, I'm fucking knocked out over here, you know. So they gave me this speech, and Michelle fucked up. She said that he might be carrying, because sometimes I carry my gun with me when I go walk and shit. And then me and the cops got into it about the Second Amendment shit, but
Oh no!
about 25
They're like,
minutes.
that's why they let you go. They're like, you start talking, they're like, let this motherfucker go. Man. Where did he get those numbers?
Dude, I'll tell you what it is. I let them beat me up or do whatever they wanted to do, just slam me down, and I didn't give them no flack, you know. I just did what they said, yes sir, this and that, and fucking, they're like, well, we can't. You basically fell asleep on some lady's lawn, and she's not gonna press charges on you, you know. And I think it was early enough where she didn't see me pissing on her lawn, or she would have fucking got me. But yeah, they let me fucking come home, dude. But the Ambien, no joke, dude. Your mind stops recording. It's like you record life as you live, but at some point that Ambien's like, stop the tape.
Yeah.
And your body's still fucking.
I got a question for you. When did you first know that, or you could talk to dogs?
Oh shit!
You know this, right? No, and this is legit shit. He's came to my house before and like
the dog whisperer, something like that.
I mean something like that where dogs communicate with him more or less. I mean, some will, I think so. He can tell you more. I'm not
shocked.
But
I'm not shocked.
He came to our house and was one of my dogs. Freaking talked to him and told him that his ass hurt. And sure enough, the fucker had like a prolapsed rectum and shit. We tuck it in. Shit, you not. It's a real story. I'm not kidding you. And he's in tune. When did you know?
I think it came when I was small, dude. I got bit by a dog across my face. That's where my scars and stuff.
Like Spider-Man got bit by a spider.
Basically, I got superpowers back then, dude. But meter reading too helped. You know, fucking. If you do any spirit science, or if you check out the spirit science on TV, everybody kind of has these abilities, like, you know, but you gotta learn. Just
to let everybody know, David Berkowitz also can talk to dogs.
Son of Sam. Yeah, Son of Sam Killer. But I don't know, man. I would say I was probably 8 or 9, something like. I was younger. Remember when we got Ziggy?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's when I really. And then Sassy, and that was the Wilburn's dog.
Right.
But just, I don't know, dude. Shit like that started happening. And then I think that's what happened, man. When we came together, we started living together. We had a bunch of different, like, we were like the Avengers or Justice League coming together with some fucking different dimensional shit happening. Right. And you didn't tell this story, but we had water beds. Remember, we got water beds for Christmas that year.
Right.
And the ghost had been moving chairs and stuff in my room, and it was hardwood floor, so you can hear it like across the room. And they show this shit in horror films and stuff all the time. But when it happens to you, there's nothing you can do, right? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing at all you can do. So I finally pleaded to Wayno. I was like, please come sleep with me. Just sleep with me one night and see what happens. And me, Jay, and Wayno were laying in this queen-size waterbed. Sure enough, the fucking closet door kind of opens. comes over and it like sits down on the bed, and as soon as it sat down on the bed, Wayno, he was up out the door, gone. Me and Jay are sitting there hugging each other and shit. But that was, I think, what helped us get the move to Robin Court. It was
oh yeah, no, they wanted out of there too, and they tried to deny it just to protect us because you don't want to feed into it because then it even trips us out more. But he had no choice. And then when we did finally move to Robin Court, which was the happiest day of my life because I still have nightmares about that house, and that's a trip. I hated the house, but I love the neighborhood because it was just such a cool street to grow up on. I mean, we'd sleep in each other's backyards and. You never slept. We'd walk the whole town of Galt. We'd be playing basketball at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Fucking kick the can.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'd be walking, scaling people's fences with fake guns. We're lucky we didn't get shot.
Yeah. I got the best fake gun story though. So we used to play guns, man. So we're out here off of Arnold Road in this refuge, and me and Jay are the young guys. We're hanging out with the older guys, Denny and. What's his name?
It was
Severas and some other guys. So they put us on a team. We're gonna die because we don't know what the fuck we're doing and we don't know where we're at. Well, we're out there and Jay's like, "Man, I gotta take a shit."
Oh,
and I'm
like, I've heard this. You tell this story. This is a good story.
So we had gone to, I think it was Marine World Africa, USA. And
I forgot this story.
We had these fucking headbands, the camouflage headbands we were wearing, right? So. I'm like, take a shit. And he's like, well, wipe my ass with. And I'm like, well, use your sock. He's like, no. So he takes his headband off. He wipes his ass with the headband. And it's no big deal to us. He's just taking shit, right? So we're playing. We get killed. So we're walking back into base. And we're sitting there kicking, drinking some sodas and shit. And then all of a sudden, this dude rolls back into camp. He's got fucking Jay's headband.
He's like, check out the headband, that fat guy.
I found this headband out there. Some stupid ass left this headband out there. And he was the kid that had like the best gun, the best camouflage, the fucking wave runners. I mean, his family spoiled his ass. So when he fucking got that headband full of shit on his head, we did not stop laughing.
I don't think we said anything to him either. We just laughed our ass out. Told Denny about it later that afternoon or something, but that was the funniest. Every time I'll see that guy, it always. Every time I drive by that field, or that side of the freeway, it was right off 99 right there. I think about that. God, that was funny shit.
It was like the best karma ever, dude. That was fucking great.
Dude. Lord, that was freaking great, man.
You couldn't even plan that in the movie. I mean, it was like just something that naturally happened. And
oh yeah, no, we had a lot of funny stuff when we did the Arizona trip. We used to pretend we spoke other language. We were from another country because we went to the Grand Canyon. So of course, there's all kinds of people there from different countries, and we're at this McDonald's, and me and this guy are freaking speaking our language back and forth and trying to order the food, and we're fucking with the cashier, and these people came up. They're like, you guys need help? I think they're from like Czechoslovakia or something. Maca big.
Not big.
Oh god, that was hilarious, dude. It was freaking great.
You know, me and Weller used to have a little language too. We used to talk really high pitched.
Fucking retards.
Yeah, god. Jesus Christ.
That's some good shit, dude. I think we're pushing the envelope too, man. So before we wrap it up, I do want to say one of my close friends and brothers, fella Kurt Skinner's dad passed away, Tom Skinner. Tina and Tom have been a main set in Galt for a long time, dude.
Big time.
And I'm sorry for his family. I love you, Tina. I hope that you deal with this the best way you can. Kurt Craig. Yep. The rest of the family, God bless all you guys.
All right. Till next week.
All right.
Later, guys.